And so these are hard to answer. Tell me what it is we're doing.
Just going to lay out two different scenarios.
Okay.
We'll determine which one is more likely to happen. Not necessarily if you think they actually will, although these are pretty mundane, but which one is more likely to occur.
Okay.
And we'll start in college football playoff land. Which one is more likely? The SEC gets two teams, presumably the only shots being Georgia and Alabama, or Cincinnati makes it. Which one is more likely? Since the SEC gets two, or Cincinnati gets in?
This goes against everything I think I believe. More likely that Cincinnati gets in at this point.
I disagree.
I want to disagree with me, too.
It's far more likely that Alabama could find a way to beat Georgia and get both of them into the playoff than it is for Cincinnati to get in here.
Look, man, so my rationale to get to that is I think Cincinnati's in a good spot at 5. Ohio State's going to beat Michigan State. Ohio State's going to beat Michigan, so they'll both have 2 losses. Oregon, in one of the 2 times they play Utah, I think might lose. So that kind of knocks them out and opens up a spot. I think they get in. And I think they get in as much a result of kind of like last man standing carnage all around them than they actually deserve to be in.
I feel like the committee will do whatever it takes to keep them out.
Maybe. You may be right. Borky, which way do you fall on that? Which one's more likely?
Cincinnati makes it.
Okay.
I do not believe.
Because you think Georgia's going to boat race Alabama?
I think Georgia will beat Alabama comfortably.
Okay.
At least double digits plus. And you will have too many one-loss options or undefeated Cincinnati, and the committee's going to hate it. They're going to hold their nose, and executives at ESPN are going to be furious. But Cincinnati, undefeated, gets in over 2-loss Alabama, who just got beat soundly in their conference championship. I do believe that to be what will happen.
Cincinnati and Georgia in a rematch of last year's Sugar Bowl as a semifinal.
I mean, I'll watch it.
Well, yeah.
But I think Alabama has a much better chance to beat Georgia than what we're discussing here.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Number 2 in terms of quarterbacks. Apparently, Bryce Young is the betting favorite for Heisman. Let me editorialize here. If he is the most outstanding player in college football, I'm 7'2". He's not anywhere close to the most outstanding player in college football, but his odds are that he will win.
Parenthetically, Michael Borky, not actually 7'2".
I am not. I'm roughly 12 inches shorter.
I don't know that I needed to explain that, but yeah.
I'm not up there quite yet. But what is more likely? Bryce Young wins that award for most outstanding player in college football, or Matt Corral is a finalist, invited to the ceremony in New York City. Which one is more likely?
I think it's more likely that Matt Corral is invited to New York. He's still got some work to do, though. I think he needs to have a big numbers game, a couple of big numbers games over the next 2 weeks. Kind of feel like his name's out there, and there's some people that look at what he's kind of accomplished. I mean, you're going to have a 10-win Ole Miss team with a quarterback that's thrown for 3,000 yards, rushed for 500 yards. He's going to be responsible for –
Are you? Are you going to have a
in this
win?
scenario?
Dude,
yes.
You think Mississippi State is going to win, therefore Ole Miss will win the Egg Bowl. It's how it works. You're wrong every time.
That's not true.
But it is true.
Yeah, but it's not true.
And yes, I mean they're better.
I don't know.
Can we stop with the is Will Rogers better than Matt Corral? Can we just stop?
Well, that's down the road. That's down the list.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get to that in a minute then.
All right. The question for me.
Yes, I think Matt Corral is more likely to get invited to New York than Bryce Young is to win.
The odds I'm looking at here still have Corral 4th, right? They invite 5, right?
It depends.
They get to decide.
Young's coming. Stroud will be there. Walker will be there. I mean, I think Corral comes over Kenny Pickett, over Caleb Williams, over Jordan Davis. So, yeah, I think Corral is going to be there.
Jordan Davis, really good football player.
Yes. This honestly might be the closest thing to a push, because I think Young's going to win the Heisman.
Do you?
But it's either be Young or Stroud. But I think Corral will be there for the ceremony.
I told people around here like weeks ago at plus 1,600 or whatever it was, C.J. Stroud is a great value pick for that trophy because they're going to win a bunch of games. They're going to win the Big Ten, and here you are. Not
down to
so much,
plus 225 now.
Yeah, value not as good anymore, but still a safe bet. Here's another one. Speaking of Ohio State, what is more likely? Ohio State beats both Michigan and Michigan State, or they lose to one of them?
They win both.
Win both.
Yeah,
All right, that was a quick answer, so let's move
on that one.
Okay.
More likely.
And the bottom line, I just think they're playing really, really well.
They are.
Really
they're
well
scoring.
right now.
I mean, look, it's the closest thing to – in fact, I could argue, and I think I would win the argument, that Ohio State has more offensive talent than Alabama. They're still a mess on the other side, but in terms of pure talent on offense, I think you can argue it when you look at rankings and then production. No, they don't play in the SEC.
They got a really good running back, really good quarterback, best receiving core in college football, on an offensive line that's gotten better as the season's gone along.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 of them are going to be playing in the NFL in 2 years. I mean, you can make that argument. But anyway, what is more likely? The Big 12 gets a single team in, or the Big 12, Pac-12, and ACC are all left out?
I mean, the single team for the Big 12 would be Oklahoma State, right?
Or Baylor. Doesn't Baylor only
Baylor's
have
got
one
2
loss,
losses.
They got two
Okay,
losses.
okay. Then yes, Oklahoma State winning out.
Includes a win over Oklahoma.
But they got to go from number 9, which is the farthest anybody has ever been ranked and has actually gotten into the playoff at this point of the rankings.
Feels like
it's more likely that the Big 12, ACC,
Alliance.
and Pac-12 – no, that's the Big 10.
Oh, it is. That's right.
Yeah, it's more likely that the Big 12, ACC, and Pac-12 get left out of the playoff than the Big 12 gets a team in on these.
Simple one.
This is good stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I came up with it, so of course it is. Simple one. Oregon wins out, which would include 2 wins over Utah, especially one on the road. Or Oregon does not. They slip up somewhere. So basically they make the playoff or they do not.
They've been running the football well. 3 straight 300-yard rushing games. That is impressive. Fine. Good. But not just anybody walks into Rice-Eccles Stadium. Is that the name of the stadium? I think that's right.
How would I know where Utah plays?
Salt Lake City. Double-check me on that. No, Utah's going to beat them. I don't know if they're going to beat them tomorrow night. I'm sorry, Saturday night, or if it will be
Rice-Eccles Stadium.
Boom. How about that grab? Well done. It's a good environment. Good home field advantage. Where are they playing the Pac-12 championship game? Are they in Vegas this year?
Once again, it's a good thing we have this device here.
I thought Borky knew everything.
Basically.
Yes, at Allegiant Stadium.
There you go.
The Roomba.
There you go.
I'm going to go on the other side of this.
Ooh.
I mean, maybe my friendship with Joe Moorhead is blinding me here, but I think Oregon's going to get into the playoff.
Next head football coach at the University of Washington, Joe Moorhead.
Perhaps next head coach of the Virginia Tech, Joe Moorhead.
Ooh.
That name has been popping up. That name is popping up, though. I think he's a head coach after this season.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good dude.
I think they're gonna make it. They're gonna make it.
See the most famous person to ever come to your Christmas party?
Nationally, probably so, but in Mississippi, Mangum was there. So
Joe Moorhead was the head football coach at Mississippi State.
I think Mangum was more famous than Joe Moorhead.
Nationally, absolutely not.
In terms of Mississippi State people.
Yeah, but what's famous?
You could recognize them. Like, I think more people know who Jake Mangum was than Joe Moorhead. I agree with myself on this.
Well, that's good to know.
There you go.
What about this one, Borky? What's the next one?
Now that we know, votes are due before the Egg Bowl, and adjust your outrage accordingly. Who wins the Connerly?
There's no doubt it's Matt Corral.
It doesn't matter when the votes are due.
No, that's not true.
It makes absolutely no difference
chance.
when the votes had to be turned. I mean, you could turn them in today. You could turn them in next week. You could turn them in on the 24th. You could turn them in post-game Egg Bowl. You could turn them in the week after or 3 weeks after that. Matt Corral's winning the Connerly Trophy.
I disagree with that.
Based on what?
That if Rodgers finished the season the way he's been playing, wins the Egg Bowl and outduels Corral, he would win it.
Okay.
I just believe that. Guy's leading the SEC in every possible passing category.
In Mike Leach's offense, he's
You act
he's
like
got
I can just
250 more
show
pass attempts than anybody else in the SEC.
There's no rule that says the passes have to be complete.
I understand.
He has to complete the passes. You know, they can't just pick some schlub off the
Find
street.
me a quarterback in Mike Leach's offense that has not put up massive numbers.
That's beside the point.
No, it's not beside the point.
It is beside the point.
No, it is an offense that
Who is the
leads-
Lane Kiffin quarterback that sucked it up all these years?
Do what?
Who's the Lane Kiffin quarterback who hasn't been good? All quarterbacks are system quarterbacks,
Well,
Richard.
I'm not arguing
So what are
whether or
we
not it's
talking
a
about?
system or not a system. I'm not making that argument one way or the
So
other.
you can be in the system and still not be a good player. Rodgers is in the system.
I'm not
and is
arguing
playing
that
at
he's not a good player.
He's playing at an incredibly high level, one of the
Yes.
highest levels any Mike Leach quarterback has ever played at.
Everything
against SEC competition.
Everything you say is true.
You're right.
He's not a better quarterback than Matt Corral, though.
Well, he's not going to be a better pro than Matt Corral, but
He's
that's not
not
what
a
this is
better
about.
quarterback than Matt Corral.
I don't know.
That's okay.
It's not even quarterback. It's better college football
Hey,
player.
let's